In this video, I'm going to give you two possible solutions. Well, actually, I'm going to give you one possible solution to the 1111 sign. And in the next video, another possible solution. Both solutions point to a time frame. Now, I'm not saying thus saith the Lord. I'm saying there's a process that we have to go through from looking at the 1111 sign to getting to the truth. He's not saying by showing us 1111 that it's 11:11 a.m. or 11:11 p.m. He's showing us those numbers to lead us to what he's implying. Some signs from God require that process. The Star of Bethlehem, people didn't just look up in the sky and go, oh, look, the Messiah was just born in Bethlehem. It took a process. It took contemplation and a thinking process to lead them to that discovery. And that's what I'm doing with 11:11. Now, if you're skeptical of the 11:11 sign, I have no problem with that. I was skeptical of rapture dreams. I've never had a rapture dream, but I see so many Christians claiming to have rapture dreams. And I was very suspicious of those claims. I wasn't suspicious that they had the dream. I was suspicious of whether or not it was from God until I heard Pastor Carl Gallup's rapture dream account. That story has the fingerprints of God all over it. And either he's lying through his teeth, which I don't believe at all. He's a good man. I believe he's a good man, and he's telling the truth. And since he's telling the truth, that dream was sent by God to him and the other people in his story. And I don't believe the people in Carl Gallup's rapture dream account were the only ones to receive an authentic rapture dream. I don't believe in all rapture dreams, but I believe some are authentic. And I think the same is true about the 11:11 sign. There's a lot of noise and garbage surrounding it, but if you take the time to look into it at its core, you should be able to see that this is a unique near the end of times sign. The signs that he sent leading up to 70 AD, as detailed by Josephus in his brilliant account of the siege of Jerusalem, some of them were seen by everyone who was involved in the siege. And the 11:11 sign is being seen by both Christians and non-Christians, and we have to take that into account when we come up with a solution. In the lead up to 70 AD, some of the signs were tragically misinterpreted. The New Age movement is tragically misinterpreting the 11:11 sign. It's not the universe telling you that you're about to have a spiritual awakening. That's a tragic misread. So let me give you two other possible solutions to it. And I believe there's more than one solution to the 11:11 sign. I'm firmly in the camp of those who say the 11:11 sign is about judgment coming. I also believe it's about our gathering together to him. But yes, I believe it is also about judgment is coming. I think one of the correct solutions is to say God is saying on the divine time clock, the countdown to the end, the divine clock is at 1. 11:11 is screaming ones at us as well, and I believe that's where we are. I think it's been at 1 for a number of years, but the next tick of the divine clock will take us to the events or the event of the end times. But I think there's other solutions as well. I'm going to offer two. Now, to my knowledge, I'm the only one that's made a link between 11:11 and these time frames. That's not a pat on my back. It should increase your suspicious nature about it. The 11:11 sign isn't going to be figured out by one person. And it sure isn't going to be little old Stan in Texas, okay? If what I'm showing you is true, you will see other people see the link between 11:11 and the time frame that I'm going to show you today. If you don't, I think we can write it off to just a well-intentioned swing and a miss. But if you do see other people coming to the same conclusion that I have, and I haven't really come to a conclusion, I've just come to a proposal. If you see them coming to the same idea, then maybe we should take it a little more seriously at that point. But the good thing is we don't have long to wait. We don't have long to wait. So let's get started. Now, the one today is a variation on a take by somebody else. Christian filmmaker by the name of Trey Smith. It's a very popular YouTube channel, makes some interesting films. I noticed that one of his videos on YouTube was about, and his channel is just called Trey Smith. I noticed that one of his videos was entitled 1111. And it turns out that was a documentary about his experience with 1111 and those of some of his Christian friends. And in that video, he floated a possible solution that 1111 was pointing to the Hebrew alphabet. 1111 adds to 22. There are 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet. Maybe one of those letters is where God is leading us. And he floated some possible letters by in that video. I only found one intriguing, and that was the Hebrew letter Kaf. Because in the original Hebrew alphabet, now the letters have changed over the years from the original Hebrew alphabet, but in the original Hebrew alphabet, probably the one Moses used and maybe the one God used in writing the Ten Commandments, Kaf looks a lot like 1111. There's at least an 11 embedded in the middle of it, and the entire letter kind of looks like 1111. That made it interesting to me. Now, Trey Smith's conclusion was, well, Kaf's symbol, all Hebrew letters have a symbol attached to them, is the hand or the open palm. And that's probably why we're seeing the 11 in the middle of it. They're probably representations of fingers. And he proposed that maybe God is saying with 1111 that both of his hands of protection are on events or on us. But I'm not sure exactly what his point was on that. But I'm going to reject that. Even though I really liked his thought process on leading to the Hebrew alphabet, I think there's something there, maybe. I'm going to reject that conclusion because that wouldn't make sense for non-Christians. God wouldn't be sending that false message of security to them. So I looked at Kaf closer, and when I discovered it was the 11th letter in the Hebrew alphabet, now that upped the ante a little bit. 1111 pointing to the Hebrew alphabet, 22 letters. The 11th letter is Kaf. That's interesting to me. And then I looked at, well, what could Kaf mean? How is it used in the Hebrew dialect and all of that? Led nowhere. And then I got a, hey, wait a minute moment. Hey, wait a minute. All Hebrew letters have a numeric value attached to them as well. What is Kaf's? I had no idea. But would that help us? If I knew Kaf's numeric value and I looked at it, would the message be clear? Because honestly, I couldn't think of a number where it would really be clear. Would we just be taking 11 and exchanging it for another number and starting the process all over? What if Kaf's number was 7? Then we'd have, instead of 1111, we'd have 77. What does that mean? Well, it could mean a lot of things. It wouldn't be clear immediately to us what the definition, the intention of God would be in that particular scenario. But that's because I didn't understand the Hebrew alphabet, numeric system. And when I saw the numeric value of Kaf, I was stunned because it was the one number where the intent by God would be clear if he was leading us to the numeric value of Kaf. It was stunning to me. And I looked at all the other numeric values of all the letters. Kaf was the only one that offered an immediate explanation as to what 1111 might mean. It was so stunning that I had to go to numerous sites to make sure that Kaf's number really was that. Oh yeah, that's Kaf's number, always has been, always will be. And it's very clear what God would be saying to us if he's leading us to that letter and its numeric value. Kaf's number, are you ready? Is 20, which means when we are looking at 1111, are we really looking at 2020? Over the last few years where God has been leading people to the 1111 sign, has he subtly put in there a date for us to take special awareness of, the year 2020? Well, the answer is yes, if he's leading us to the 11th letter of the Hebrew alphabet and its numeric value. 1111 is about numbers, so it doesn't surprise me that it might be about the numeric value of the 11th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, which just happens to look like 1111. 2020 could be a year for the ages, and it will be if God is leading us to it. Now here, I'm not asking you to accept that. All I'm saying is maybe we should put that on the table and just consider that 2020 is a year that God may be pointing to. Put it on the table. Let's wait and see what happens. Other people have said 1111 may be pointing to the two witnesses because Revelation 11 Verse 11 is about the two witnesses. I'm willing to consider that. I'll put that on the table as well. I'm not looking for the two witnesses. I'm looking for the Lord's return. But if God sends the two witnesses, that's his business, and I'll accept it and deal with it at that point. That's all I'm asking you to do with 2020. Put it on there. Let's see how it plays out. Now, if you say, I don't believe that for a second, that's fine. I don't blame you for being skeptical about it. But don't remove 2020 as a possible very important year just because I'm wrong on my process. I could be dead wrong on linking 11/11 to 2020, but 2020 could still be a very important year. Regardless of what the exact solution is, he's telling us time is up. There's an urgency in not only the 11/11 sign, but all the signs. And even if we don't quite get the exact right interpretation, we can get the general thrust, which is if you've got somebody to share the gospel with, now's the time to do it. That's not going to hurt anybody to take 2020 and the rest of 2019. As I record this, we've got about a month to go of 2019, and I'm going to look for the return of the Lord every day of 2019. But when 2020 gets here, maybe my watch will be heightened just a little bit, and to not miss any opportunity to spread the gospel. Thanks for watching. God bless you. God bless the Church of our Lord Jesus Christ.